Good evening, everybody. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the school committee. It's May 20th. As close to 7 p.m. as we could make it, given the fact that we were delayed in executive session. And I apologize for keeping all these wonderful participants waiting. We will begin, as usual, with public participation. Is there anybody who would like to address the committee? Seeing none, we will go to good news. Does anybody have any good news they'd like to share with the committee? Judy.
I attended the Wareham High School play, and I enjoyed it very much. I thought there was a lot of talent there, and I loved seeing the kids on the stage and all the work that went on behind the stage. Okay.
And were you stumped by any of the spelling words?
Most of them.
Okay. Anybody else have any good news? Yes, Rhonda.
I attended the Wareham High School volleyball spaghetti dinner, and they had it was a fundraiser. They had a great participation there, and seemed like they raised a lot of money. So congratulations to them.
Anybody else?
I do.
Yes.
I attended the DECA auction on Sunday. I had a great time. I made some great purchases, but in the future, I do not want you to let any golfers come in. Those are mine.
Nicole.
So my biggest good news is that there are only 1.5 days of school left for seniors. That's all I have to say.
Someone take the mic away from her. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? This is a little late, but I'm trying to remember what date it was. I was fortunate enough to be asked to drive a bus for the track team, boys and girls, going to Apponequet. I guess it was about a week ago. And not only did I enjoy the competition, but I was blown away by the sportsmanship of the teams. Everybody was rooting for everybody. Nobody seemed to care how fast or how slowly someone was running. They just wanted people to do their best. And it was a great display. We lost by a whisker, but that didn't matter because the effort and the sportsmanship were there, and people represented Wareham really well, and I was very proud to be wearing a Wareham logo at that time. So congratulations to everybody associated with the Wareham track teams. Mr. Sousa and Mr. Gardner, of course, are the coaches, and they represented us well as at that time. Moving on, we have two wonderful presentations, which I'll turn over to Mr. Minkle. You want to start us off? And Mr. Minkle, I'm told that the other microphone will go a long way from where it is now. So if you want to give that to someone who wants to move over to the experiment, feel free to do so.
Thank you. So we had a second annual science fair at the middle school in February, and it was very successful. And I just want to mention a couple of projects that the kids did for students that had top place finishes but couldn't make it tonight. Brooke Chandler, a 6th grade student, did a presentation. She was an award winner on what it takes to build the biggest bubble. And I know that some of you on the school committee had a chance to enjoy that, as well as the superintendent. And Avery Gilman did a hoverboard powered by a leaf blower. And Avery considered coming tonight and couldn't make it at the last minute. And the other thing I want to mention is that we have, among our student body, we have some prodigies, and 2 of them are with us tonight. And that would be Alex Lambert and James Fitzgerald, who sat in my office the other day and explained how they built, and you can see it in front of you, their hydroelectric generator. Whoa. And I want to tell you that not only did they build it, but they have continued to refine it, as a good scientist would do, so that they can make it so that it's more usable. They placed top at the middle school. They competed at the Regional Science Fair at Regis College. And they will compete at the State Science Fair at Worcester Tech in June. And for the first time, and I'm just told this, we will have, they are being nominated, they have been nominated to compete at the Broadcast Masters, which is an international science competition in California in the fall. And there is a process that goes along with that. And so what I said to the boys is, whoever asks you, say that you think the principal should accompany you on that trip. So I'm going to suggest that perhaps the superintendent could present them with the awards that were sent by Broadcast, which is an international firm, and they specialize, or they sponsor 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kids internationally for science fairs.
Fabulous.
And I'm sure the boys wouldn't mind explaining a little bit about their project if they want to, because it's fascinating.
Okay, so what we built here is a miniature hydroelectric generator, and also we added a Rube Goldberg machine to demonstrate the transfer of energy and motion. So basically, how we decided to do this project is we thought about what would be practical in this day and age, and we thought about how fossil fuels are hazardous and are diminishing, and hydroelectric dams. The Earth is covered in approximately 71% of water, so we could exploit that and use that for a renewable energy source. And microsystems are small hydroelectric generators that are really efficient and can produce a large amount of electricity to power a household in a miniature local stream. So we tried to replicate that, and as Mr. Minkle said, we have been improving it. So, yeah.
So, up top here, we have our reservoir, which holds all the water. And then once we pull out this, all the water will flow down and spin this water wheel. And here's our generator. And what it is there's a nail going through it with magnets connected. And we have enamel-coated wire wrapped around it. So when the magnets spin, it induces a current on the wire through electromagnetic induction and lights a tiny LED.
So the maximum amount of voltage we've been able to generate so far is approximately 1.5 volts, give or take. So we've been trying to improve upon this. We've added more wire, and also this generator originally was made out of cardboard. Here's our prototype, but it was flimsy and would start to break. The structural integrity wasn't good enough, so we used a Tums box. And then a Tums box, yes. Yes. And then our Rube Goldberg machine is simple. We just have a spinning paddle here, spins the dominoes. This ball goes down this wooden cascade here and launches our ping pong ball into the cup. So we will give you a demonstration just using a hair dryer. So yeah. Okay, that didn't work. But most of the time it does work. We actually made a pencil marking here just to aim everything because it took a lot of trial and error, this project, and it's still not perfect, but it does work very well. So we couldn't show you tonight, but if you saw our presentation at the science fair, we would show you a video of this working. It was quite exciting. So as I said before, lots of trial and error. One of those times it flooded our floor, and so yeah.
All right.
Thank you, boys. They get A's in science.
I bet.
Thank you, Mr. Minkle. Not only kudos to the students, but also the parents and the teachers who inspired them. That was great. Thank you very much. Mr. Palladino.
I actually turn it over to Sylvia.
Good evening. I'm Monice Maurice, one of the DECA advisors, and I apparently pulled the short straw. Oh, thank you. In April, we boarded a plane at 6 a.m. to head to the International Career Development Conference in Orlando, Florida. There were 23 of us on the plane because we met a student down there, but 24 students, Mr. Callie, myself, and Mr. Kim Carmen, were down there for 6 days, 5 nights as our students. 15 of them competed in the international conference, and 9 attended a leadership academy. So we had lots of memorable moments, and I'm just going to ask them to come up quickly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. We have 16 of the 24 here. Others were just getting back from track meets and tennis, tennis I think it was, and some are at work. So some of our accomplishments while we were down there were number 1, Paige Feskins took top 20 in the world in her category. So that was pretty exciting.
And to add to that,
Could she kind of wave at us?
Paige, right?
Paige will talk about that in a second. But also to be noted that Wareham has had, in my tenure of 19 years as being the DECA advisor and teacher, we have had 4 students who have been a finalist at the International Career Development Conference. So to have one is very unique, where all these countries don't just send their students, they send their top students, because they have to win at the state level or the country level to even make it there. So for Paige to be in the top 20 in the world is an amazing feat. So it's something that really, there were all types of people from all different places, Canada, China, Guam, and along with the United States. So for her to compete in that global arena was quite impressive.
Absolutely. One other notable accomplishment that occurred down there is Corey Harunkowitz. Can you wave, Corey? Corey was presented a check and was honored at the honors dinner, the International Honors Luncheon, in front of all of the international leaders by the Army ROTC organization for his accomplishments, community-based, civic-based, leadership-based, and academically based, where he received just shy of $220,000 $1,000 scholarship, and it had nothing to do with recruitment, everything to do with community civic awareness, leadership, and academics. So he was one of 6 students honored. He took the top award.
Oh, that's great.
Hi, I'm Paige Feskins, and definitely the most memorable thing at the international conference was getting my name called to be a finalist. I never imagined that I would get top of my flight and be in the top 20 in the world, and it was an incredible feeling. What it meant was that I could move on and do another role play scenario, an oral role play in front of 2 judges, and compete for the top 10 spot that I'm definitely going for next year. But it is such an honor to be in the top 20, and I owe so much to Mrs. Maurice, Mr. Callie, and Mr. Palladino, and all those who support DECA, because it is an amazing experience. And still, of course.
Personally, my most memorable moment was during luncheon when I got to speak to a 2-star general. That's going to be my commanding officer for the next 4 years of my life. But the one thing that was really instilled in, I believe, everyone that attended was just the drive of all the students. It was an aura being there. Everyone wanted to push themselves, do a little bit more, and just make the best out of every moment of their life.
Could I ask a question? Paige, before you sit down?
Yeah, I'm afraid as soon as you sit down, you open yourselves up to questions. So.
I'm sorry.
No, I think the committee would like to know this. Paige, could you just briefly describe one of your role plays, what the problem was?
Certainly. One of my role plays was an online retail store, and I was presented with the situation that I needed to get more people into the store and divide up the inventory to certain, I might be blending two here, but one of them, the one that was not online, I'll go with that one. That one I remember more clearly, but you had to divide up the inventory into different locations. So I had to come up with a plan for stocking. I'm in the category of retail merchandising, so I had to come up with a merchandising plan and stock the different locations with different items and have reasons for doing that and how that would promote our business.
And how long did you have to prepare for this?
10 minutes and 10 minutes to present.
Thank you.
It's called extemporaneous business planning. Corey, what was your on the fly problem to solve?
The one that I remember the best was I'm in the category of automotive services marketing. I was in a family business setting where we had just opened up a new store in an area nearby a lake, and they were looking to expand their product line into boating accessories as well. So I had to specify what boating accessories and define the profit margins that would be gained by expanding into the boating industry and deem whether it would be a worthwhile investment or not.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Oh, your questions are coming.
this is for the group. How many of you are seniors? Can anyone tell me what you will take from this experience onto your next chapter in your life? Microphone.
Personally, I was always going to go into the field of education, but going through DECA and going to nationals, I decided I want to go into a business major. So I'm going for business management to Framingham next year.
We're sorry to lose you.
But I'm not,
I know.
because I'm looking at the future philanthropists for Wareham. They're going to have buildings named after them, et cetera. China, when I asked her what she wanted to do, what her perfect job was, she said, I love business. So after you make your first, 100 million, you can come back and we'll name a building after you.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Moore, and what I took out of DECA was just how to be a self-motivated individual. DECA has showed me how to pursue my goals without anybody telling me, oh, do it, do it, do it. I can go out there and I can problem solve by myself. And it's opened my mind to a lot more things than what I originally would have done. So I'm going to Westfield State next year, and I probably will pursue a marketing degree.
So, Mr. Chair, if you were basically doing recruitment for new DECA members coming into the school next year, or when they're able to apply, you would basically say that it opens your world to different possibilities of what you want to do, and it helps you build confidence.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We know you're not bashful. We've got to be a lot less scary than the judges.
It honestly kind of is, but it still is for me. I'm Rebecca Blanchette, and I'm a senior. DECA, I don't know. It's hard to explain what DECA is when it's your life. You can't explain your life in, 2 words, 3 words, because it's really everything to you, and I think the kids standing behind me can say absolutely the same. Without Momo, without Sylv, and the support from Mr. Palladino, we wouldn't be the kids who we are today sitting here in front of you. I know maybe 2 of us would probably be here, and that's not me. Without DECA, I would not be sitting here, and I am absolutely horrified to be here right now. But if I was here as a freshman or sophomore, just kidding, I wouldn't be here. So it really opened up my eyes to the world, to other people, and to see who I wanted to be as a grown-up. And because I did grow up so fast in high school, it just helped me see the good in every situation, especially with the help of Sylv and through DECA. I'm not pursuing a marketing or business degree. I am going into pre-veterinary, but I am pursuing a minor in marketing. So I guess that's kind of where I can't let go of the DECA aspect in my life. So that's what I'm pursuing next year.
So my name's Erica Trask. This is my second year going to the International Career Development Conference. I do something different than Paige and Corey. I have a prepared project that I bring with me, and it's like my entire life. I'm already starting on next year. I'm so excited because I'm only a junior. But I love DECA. It's what I'm passionate about. And although I don't know what I want to do in college, it's definitely going to help me whatever I choose. DECA helps me have social skills, have the ability to problem solve, like Nate said, and know what I want in life. So, yeah.
My name is Owen Neely. I'm a senior. This is my first year doing DECA. And before this year, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do after high school. And after being in DECA for the whole year, all the experience with fundraisers and competition, just all the fun things that we did, I've decided that I want to pursue business after high school. And wherever I go to college, which I still haven't decided yet, I will be pursuing a degree in business at some point. It's really opened my eyes towards like the real world of business, because the first couple years of DECA, sophomore year, we just really kind of learned out of a book, or at least in the class I was in. But senior DECA, we kind of actually experienced business in the real aspect. I went out and spoke in front of 31 businesses for about 4 weeks trying to promote the home show, and I did it again for the auction, and it's just been like a real eye-opening experience for me for business.
Great.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bonfiglio, and at DECA I attended the Elevate Leadership Academy, and what this focused primarily on was chapter leadership and leadership throughout our chapter here at Wareham. And what I really took from that was the other students and how everyone else from all over the country, how they ran their chapters and how we compared it to us back home, and just taking those differences and trying to really create what we could really become as the best actual chapter that we have.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Derek Guerrier, and when I entered DECA my junior year, I really didn't know what to expect, but I personally think that it was the best decision of my high school career, because DECA has really changed me as not just a person, as a student, and now I'm more socially responsible, and it's really helped me in different aspects of life and knowing what I want to do in college. Competitions are such a great time. Competition has actually given me the confidence to know that I can do anything that I want to do as long as I put my mind to it. There's no better feeling than going up on stage, hearing your name, and having the whole town of Wareham that went to DECA stand up and clap for you, come back, give your advisors a hug and all that. That really touched me, because it really let me know that no matter how many odds are against you, anything is possible, and if you put your mind to something, it could be done. That's what DECA has taught me. So next year I will be attending a 4-year school, Westfield State University, and pursuing a major in marketing and minor in business management. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Arnold Tavares. Basically, DECA has really taught me what it's going to be like in the real world when I get out of high school and when I get out of college. When you go to the career conferences, it's like you get a schedule and you have to know where you have to be at a certain time. So say you have to be in a test at 7 o'clock in the morning, or at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. You literally have to plan that out, and you have to get there, say, the other side of the city by that time. So it really puts you in the position of say you are an executive, say you are a worker in a company, that you have this obligation that you have to fulfill. And I really enjoy that, because it really brings you into what real life is going to be. And it has done that through the home show, the auction, selling tickets, getting booths in, and I really enjoyed that about DECA.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lexi Calvin. I went to ICDC on a leadership position, and my favorite part of that was meeting all the people from the other states and getting out of the, hey, this isn't just Massachusetts kids mindset. They'd be like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, Wareham. You really probably don't know where that is, so I'm from Massachusetts. And it was pretty awesome. The Leadership Thrive Academy I was in, as soon as you came in, they said, okay, now find a seat, but you can't sit with anyone from your own state. So that made it pretty hard, but I made a lot of great friends from all over the world, and I really liked that.
Hi, I'm Peter Gagnon, and probably what I took away most from DECA Nationals was the opportunity to compete against people from all over the world that are truly the best in your age group. It's not too often you get that opportunity to really measure yourself against what's considered the best at your level. So me, Nate, and China, we got top 50% in our category, not too sure exactly where we placed, but knowing that we're top 50% of probably the top 10% really opened my eyes to the things I could accomplish, because yeah, I've never just sat there and thought I could be that good at that level before.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Lockyer, and I went to ICDC on a leadership spot like Lexi through Thrive Academy. It was kind of weird sitting with people I didn't know from all over the country, but it's kind of interesting at the same time, because yes, you get to see things from a different perspective. One thing I took away from it is working collaboratively as a group. For one activity, we had to rebuild basically a Lego structure, but we only could have one person at a time go run out and see it. It was in the hallway. So then we had all the pieces all together, and it was kind of difficult to realize only one person at a time could do it, and it just taught us more of time structure. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heather Cleveland, and I was in the Thrive Leadership Academy too. I think what I liked the most was also meeting new people, because you really don't know. You think that everyone does the same thing that you do, but it's completely different. And I took out of it working with people. I'm not really I don't like doing that. I like to be by myself. So I really liked that.
Great.
I'm Allison Bakayaki, and I attended the Elevate Leadership Academy, and we worked with other kids from different states, and we took away how they ran their DECA chapter, so we could take some of their information and put it into ours to make ours better, and we told them what we did, and I think it really helped to see what other kids do and how we can improve our DECA chapter also. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jayla Silva. I'm a junior at Wareham High School. DECA has really opened my eyes to all the opportunities that come with real life. I learned that if you want to do something, there's nothing stopping you besides how high you set your goals. So I plan to go to college for marketing. I fell in love with DECA the minute I walked in the classroom sophomore year. I really wish that it was open to freshmen when I came in because I heard about it here at orientation when I was in 8th grade 3 years ago. So I think it's really important that kids continue to join DECA and that they get to experience what we did.
Thank you.
So the good news is they all want to go back, all our underclassmen. Actually, and all our seniors want to go back or want to stay here. That's all they've been saying all week. But we'll be heading to Nashville, Tennessee next year. I know the kids that went to the Leadership Academy have so much to share with us, and as soon as the momentum slows down from the auction and graduation and things like that, we look forward to evaluating the scores. What's great about National DECA, or International DECA now, is as Erica pointed out to me, Momo, the scores are out. Can you get them for us? So we can go and secure the scores for all 15 competitors this year, and we see how they measure up against our association or Massachusetts chapter, how their scores measure up, as well as internationally. And so it can help, and it's all based on 21st century learning and the national core standards for marketing education. So we'll be able to evaluate where we stand as a program, where our students stand, and how we can make our program and our teaching and our curriculum better to better help them. But I can tell you right now, I'm just looking at 4 of them have already started studying for next year. Erica, Jayla, Joe, Ryan, they've already got their binders going. So they're just motivated and it's inspirational.
I think I just want to leave it by saying you look up here and they are a microcosm of what best and brightest look like. They're hardworking. They let nothing stand in their way when they have their sights set on something. They walk around with a goal in mind, and they never get derailed. And if they do slightly go off path, they have 253 other DECA members that are going to guide them right back to where they need to be. So I think that it doesn't come easy, and because you're from Wareham and you're in DECA doesn't make it that you go to internationals, because last year we had 4. So the fact that we had 24 means we had a lot of kids who worked really hard. And that's who they are. They are hardworking kids who just have their sights set on something greater. And I think that that's a very special trait that our kids have. And it's not just our DECA kids have it. Our Wareham kids have it. In all aspect. I look at Nicole up there and she has it. How I would have loved to have her in DECA, though I got to be honest. But our Wareham kids have it. And if you ever look in their eyes and you motivate them and you give them that goal that they know that they can attain, they'll go get it. If you show them how to go get it, they'll go get it. And that's what this group, along with the other 253, along with the 583 that go to Wareham High School do. They go get it if we show them the way. So.
Thank you.
Any comments, Mr. Chair? Any comments?
Hold on one second. I know. Dr. Sylvia.
I just wish, well, first of all, I want to congratulate the kids, because obviously you made your parents very, very proud, and certainly you made the school department very, very proud, and the town very, very proud, and me very, very proud, because I've got a special connection to DECA. So I think that just looking at you, I think everyone on the committee can appreciate this. This is your competition outfit, right? You have to be in your blazer and business dress.
They are not allowed to compete outside of dress.
And I think it's pretty neat how great you look. Not only how you perform, but how great you look. The other thing that I wanted to say was, I wish that every naysayer in Wareham could have seen this presentation, because I'm so tired of hearing that it's better down the road. Let me tell you right now, there isn't anything better than this down the road. This is top shelf. And we have it here, and we've had it here for quite a while. So I just wish that all of the people that think that they're going to get a better education down the road could see this DECA presentation, could see the science fair presentation, that wonderful things are happening here in Wareham. Do we have our problems? Sure. Okay, is it perfect? No. But I'm going to tell you something. Our programs are top shelf, and you represent that. And the last thing I'd like to say is you've got tremendous leadership. I was fortunate enough to work for many years with one of your advisors. And I'll tell you, Sandwich's loss is definitely Wareham's gain. And so I think the world of Miss Maurice that you had the opportunity to, after a leave of absence and a hiatus to bring up your children, that you chose to come work for us. Thank you and welcome to Wareham. Thank you. And of course, the other advisor will talk privately.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Good job.
Okay, moving on to more mundane business and less enjoyable. We have the minutes of May 6th to consider.
I move we accept as presented.
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 500. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just before our 2 middle school students leave, just so you know, we expect to see you again here over and over, and the same kind of question will probably happen with you guys because you're brilliant. So congratulations again. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Palladino. Approval of the district handbook. Oh, sorry. Dr. Schwam. You're right.
That was the best science project, by the way. I was that was the first project I was able to judge when I was a judge over the science project. Oh, amazing. Amazing. Nice job. So I believe a copy of the handbook was picked up by the members, or I think Cliff, you picked it up, yes?
I picked mine up, yeah.
Oh, okay. So did everyone receive their handbook?
No.
Yes.
Just electronically.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, just as long as you have it.
Yes.
All right, so that you know. There were no changes to the document as far as the procedures that were originally written. Table of contents needed to be fixed, so that's indicated. And the policies were all updated. So if they had been approved on a certain date at a certain time and not changed, that's indicated. If they were amended, the new amended policy was put into the handbook.
Meaning the policies as approved and amended by the Policy Review Committee.
Correct.
Got it.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Were building level administrators involved in any changes in the handbook? Or were they consulted as to whether or not there should be any changes?
No, from my understanding, they have addendums all separately that they create for their schools that address what their schools need to do.
So there's no... No, I understand that because I know that we had a separate high school handbook specifically for the high school students.
All the schools have that.
And there's no overlapping between those two things?
Between the district handbook and their handbook?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. But in terms of the district handbook,
the building level administrators and principals were not necessarily consulted on any of the changes.
There were no changes to the procedures that were there from the year before. The only changes that occurred were policies that needed to be updated. So all of the other elements are there as they were.
Okay. I suppose somebody's going to have to ask the question on page 48 concerning busing.
Yes.
I hate to be the one asking
No,
that
that's
question.
okay,
Because you know the
because-
way I feel about it.
Well, actually, if you hadn't asked, I was bringing it up. So thank you very much for doing that. Right now, the busing is shown as our policy. So what needs to occur at our next meeting is we need to look at the busing policy and make the change so we can make the change reflected into this document.
Okay.
As well as on page 51, 50 and 51 with the meal charging, because here it reflects as we are currently charging. What we're waiting to see is to get some final numbers from the state to assess where we're at for the upcoming school year as far as if we will be able to maintain at all schools the free breakfast and free lunch. And if that's the case, which we're certainly hoping our numbers reflect, then we will be bringing forward that final change for this handbook.
Okay. Thank you.
Rhonda?
I'm not sure what page it's on, but graduation requirements. It talks about the graduation requirements from the class of 12, 13, 14, 15. Class of 15 is graduating this year. Was there any discussion of taking that out or amending that to just reflect the graduation requirements?
I assume that there will be discussion of that. I'm brand new to this process, and so it's very different than other districts that I've worked in. Usually the schools are responsible for their handbooks with their school councils. So this is just a very different procedure.
Okay.
So I'm tried to leave what had already been established, and just my main concern was to make sure that the policies were accurately updated as they weren't in the version that I was given.
Okay.
So that was my focus.
And what will happen will be the schools will come forward with their handbooks in subsequent meetings for your approval with those adjustments.
Okay, so then just the idea behind it is that for this, is there a timeline that this needs to be approved tonight, or do we wait for the changes to this document and then approve it then?
What we can do is wait till you've seen the document, you have looked at the policy changes, so now what we will do is bring forward the additional handbooks from each school. We'll make the necessary changes in there and then bring the final copy for your approval prior to printing.
Okay, so then the question is, on the agenda, it says approval of district handbook, but do we postpone that until the new version is in front of us?
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Judy, Cliff?
I've got quite a few questions. Do you want me to do them all, or do you want me
Yes.
to wait? Okay. On page 9, I know some of this is verbiage and proofreading and making it flow, but under procedures for reporting child abuse, number 5, you've deleted with the principal and assistant principal for determination. Could you tell me why that was deleted?
That was recommended from the pupil personnel office.
Okay, but why would it be deleted? That you wouldn't want to consult with the principal and the assistant principal whether to go forward on a 51A?
Where does it say? I don't have that
Number
on my
5,
deleted notes.
The reporter and counselor will be consulted with the principal, assistant principal for determination of whether a report, a 51A, should be filed with the Department of Children and Families. And you've deleted, it's deleted with the principal and assistant principal. Why wouldn't you want to have a discussion with the principal and assistant principal before moving forward with a 51A?
I'm not sure,
I
mine
don't-
doesn't show deleted.
I don't have that in front of me, so I'm sorry. I have it right here, and I
What's
have
that
a
say?
few minor, just spacing, but I don't have that delete, I don't have a delete, it's right here in writing. It would have been crossed off and
Well,
then
this is what I
said
got to
so
work
on
with.
the side. But what's deleted is listed on the side of the column in red, where
Oh.
it says those words are deleted, and they're not deleted on the copy in front of me.
His copy has it deleted, but
Mine
mine
does not.
doesn't.
Mine does not, so I'm not sure
I'm
what
just going by
happened.
what I had to work with.
Sorry,
It
I mean,
says
I copied
deleted.
it from my computer, I'm not
Well,
sure.
this is what I got from you folks.
I don't have it deleted.
Well, question, was this process of updating the district handbook an ongoing process where changes could have been made literally right up to tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's possible that what Michelle sent us out was in fact correct at that time, and it's subsequently been changed.
I got this 4 days ago.
I understand. But you're right, your document is different than the one Kim has in front of her.
And the one I have in front of me, so I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
All right, then let's move forward. Maybe it's all going to be moot, I don't know. Oh, on emancipation.
Can you give me the page
Page
number?
12.
Thank you.
Just a curiosity thing here. Under the current policy, does a student have to request emancipation? Does an 18-year-old student have to make some kind of a formal request to be emancipated?
Through the courts.
No, through the school.
Not an 18-year-old.
Still has to be
Huh?
approved by the court system.
In other words, what I'm asking you, is it automatic, or does a student have to request that all relevant records, report cards, et cetera, be sent to he or she?
I'll have to get back to you on answering that question.
Okay, because in my opinion, it shouldn't be automatic. I mean, I think that should be requested, because certainly, if I had an 18-year-old son or daughter, I wouldn't like it if they automatically, on their own, decided that they wanted to be emancipated. When they pay the bills, they can be emancipated. Until that time, I'm still the boss.
Well, we pay insurance till they're 26, so.
Right. So I would be very interested to know on whether or not it is considered automatic when they're 18, or if an 18-year-old has got to request it to be emancipated. And if they do request it, we can't stop them, but do we notify the parents that that request has been made? You're shaking your head up and down.
Yeah, Mr.
Do we do
Palladino.
that?
Yes, it's very rare that that occurs, but we do, that's pretty much exactly the protocol we follow. is
Okay.
Everything you said, contacting the parent.
But just for clarification, there's a world of difference between emancipation and allowing an 18-year-old to sign a form that would otherwise have to be signed by a parent. And that happens routinely, correct? Okay.
What was that again? What was that again?
There are forms that an 18-year-old can sign without a parent's co-signature, if you will, or which would normally be signed by a parent and not the student, that now no longer at 18 no longer requires a parent's signature.
Okay.
Field trip.
Field trip is an example, right?
Okay. Well, I could debate that too, but that's okay. On page 14, this is about, protecting the privacy. What about photos? Is there a blanket policy that, because kids can have their photo taken anywhere for any reason, like at a game or whatever, and if they show up in the paper, do we have a blanket policy in terms of photos?
Yes, we
There's a
do.
form
They have
that
to sign
Parents
off.
sign,
Okay.
allowing it or not allowing it,
'Cause
actually.
It's not mentioned in this policy. On page 16, it was just something that I said to myself, and that's acceptable dress. I was just wondering if that funneled over into the staff. page 61. There's no mention on early graduation, but they also talk about dual enrollment, but there's no mention of our 8th grade dual enrollment. Don't you think we should have that in there somewhere?
That will be one of the changes that I assume that principals will have worked on in their addendums. Because it's specific to the two schools,
But it's
not
not
to
in
the
the
whole
district
district.
handbook that we even have an 8th grade dual enrollment program. On page 98, that page should be updated.
Yes, we
I'm
realize
no longer
that need-
chair, and it's
Yep.
Dr. Kimberly Saferhood.
We're doing all of those updates once all the dust settles from all staff members and such.
And I know that there may be some changes in this, but we've got building coordinators, we've got building coordinators for 504s, we've got Title IX coordinators. Do you think the department head should be listed with their extensions?
Mr. Palladino?
I don't think it would hurt.
I mean, I don't know, but somebody wants to have a question about English department or whatever, and, but I know it's on the phone thing, but I don't know.
Would you
I
like
was
it in
just-
both? Would you like it in both the district and the
It's not what I want.
addendum? No, I'm
I'm
just
just bringing it up
curious.
for your consideration. I think that's basically all my concerns.
Judy? All set?
Mr. Chair? Oh, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm all set. Thanks.
Rhonda?
So it goes back to on the agenda that it said approval, but it seems like that the administration is already looking at changes that they're going to be making to it before it comes back for final approval here. The question that I have, and please forgive me for the school committee members that are on the policy review committee, but is this something because of the changes in the district that have happened with the changes from going to two elementaries, grade level, with dual enrollment, things like that? Should we take a thorough look of of this handbook through the policy review committee, and which will go to Mel's point of being able to have administrators, parents, teachers, that whole group is already made up of a community group, that they come together and they take a look at this handbook and do a thorough review of it before it comes back here. Is that something that we should do?
I think that's a great idea.
Again, I apologize to the people on the policy review committee.
Technically speaking, it is the role of a school council to work with their principals on the handbook every year. That's one of the charges of a school council.
Right.
That's how it works. So I'm assuming there may be some redundancies having both documents.
Have you seen in districts that there's a district handbook and then a school?
No.
That there are only
School handbooks.
School handbooks,
Yes.
no district
And
handbook.
they come before the school committee, and if there are big changes, the same process, but.
But each
there's a-
individual school
comes to the table with the necessary agenda item, with the necessary things that all handbooks have. There's a group of documents that everyone is required to have in there. They include those, and the rest is really a school-driven document with the people involved at the school.
So the question is, do we take a look in general, our policy of having a district and school debate that issue before we actually ask any kind of committee and/or administrators to go back and take a look at the changes that need to be made to this document? Instead, is there a valid reason that we should do away with the district handbook if we're able to cover all of the policies here within each one of the schools in their own handbooks?
I would have to echo with Dr. Schwam. Every district that I've been associated with, every school had their own handbook that incorporated district policies, and procedures were covered within that handbook. The district handbook was more geared towards staff and not the public. And I would be very happy to take this to the policy committee with the other handbooks from the schools and see about, because one of the things that we need to do is make sure that there's a clear articulation and with all policies in each handbook. And I'd be happy to do that.
Because I can say, as a parent, if I'm looking for a policy, or if I'm looking for something that I need to know how the district is, what the rule is for that, I sometimes I'm confused on whether I need to look at my school policy or both, and I'm looking at both. Why not just streamline the process for the district in general, so it's a lot easier to know exactly what the policies and procedures are within our district.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
How did this district handbook come about then, if it's redundant
Well, I think we should be careful with the use of the word redundant.
Mm-hmm.
It is hopefully not redundant in the sense that it includes a whole lot of policies that are relevant to all the schools. And the concept was that there would then be extraordinary policies that were unique to the individual schools. So I don't think I'd use the word redundant. Whether that's the best way to handle the rollout of policies and procedures is, I think, what we're debating. And that's fine. I think it's a constructive debate, and I'm glad my colleague is now the chair of the Policy Review Committee, because it's a gargantuan task to go through that. But nevertheless, it's something that we can consider. Rather than assign that to the Policy Review Committee, I think we ought to have, not tonight, a recommendation from school management as to whether we really want to make that change, period. And if we really do, then we can consider, the process by which we make that change. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Yes. Yes.
So we don't need to throw it out immediately, and tonight, certainly.
No.
We don't need to throw a huge task at the Policy Review Committee, because I'm not necessarily willing to say that sitting here tonight, a decision that was made a long time ago was necessarily a bad one. Maybe it, in fact, works. Yes?
The reason we have a district handbook is because there are policies that are driven by legal statutes.
Sure.
And that affect the district, and whether it be employment or whether it be student rights or whatever. And now some of them, there may be an overlap and there may be a certain degree of redundancy, but I think the reason we have a district handbook is because those policies that are in the district handbook are those policies that, as you said, have a common thread to every school, but yet have implications to the staff, the entire staff, regardless of what school or what role they play. So I think we do need a district handbook, because certainly some of the procedures and legal framework that's in that district handbook would make a school handbook look like the unabridged. So that's my opinion.
Anything else? Yes.
No, the only thing that I would say is that when you take a look at the district handbook today, there are policies in the district handbook that only pertain to one school. So it's a larger debate, and I look forward to having it back on the agenda.
Okay. Under student conduct, 17. One of the things that I hadn't paid attention to in the past, but perhaps because I'm particularly sensitive to student conduct and code of conducts and that sort of thing at the moment, there's groups of infractions. I found no, and I could have missed it, but I found no apparent logic to the grouping. I tried to think of it as, well, is one group more severe than the other? Is one group a different, have some in essence that it's reason it's grouped in that way? Do you have any insight as to why these groups exist? And I'm not even sure how they're used, meaning if it said at the end, and any infraction in Group A caused the following to occur, and an infraction in Group B caused the following to occur, I would say, okay, I guess that makes some sort of sense. But I didn't find that. So my colleague, while you're thinking about that, my colleague has an answer as a former dean.
In the high school handbook, it is specific what the consequences are under A, B, and C.
But DE even, okay? But what you're saying is you acknowledge that it's not specific what the consequences are in this handbook.
Correct.
Yeah, this does need to be looked at.
I think that what matters in the bigger picture here are the 37H1/2 kind of consequences that happen, that occur as a result of behavior, and that's normally or usually a high school area, area of concern. I'm not saying that it hasn't been in other areas, but normally it's a high school issue. So I think when they're trying to describe that, they're describing the behaviors that could cause the 37H or H1/2 to occur.
Is the assumption that there will, depending on which school you're in, an infraction will have one consequence in the middle school and a different consequence in the high school?
There are a lot of different reasons that could affect a consequence.
Yeah.
Many.
Okay, I'm going to save this for a future meeting. Looks like it's needed, and I would respectfully request that this whole grouping of infractions and consequences be one of the things that's either removed and put into the schools handbooks.
Correct.
Or the rationale for the groups and all the infractions be much clearer.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay.
Okay, one more thing.
Yes.
If my memory serves me, and because I'm the oldest member on the committee, one of our gazillion audits from the state required that we made wholesale changes to the district handbook. And I remember specifically, part of that was the language around 37H1/2, 504s, and I don't remember when that was, but it was a direct result of the recommendations made by one of our many audits years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's one of the reasons why the district handbook is so thick, because I think it has evolved to answer the requirements or requests of Big Brother.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Before we leave this agenda item, what is the timeline associated with getting this done?
We need to have this printed by the beginning of school next year.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Can we move on? Anybody else have any other
Somebody tell me what a
concerns?
shod foot is?
A shod foot is a foot in a shoe.
Thank you.
I understood that. It was perfectly clear to me.
And the shoes are weapon.
And by the way, it's the way the statute reads.
Okay.
Thank you, Attorney Lazarus.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. We have senior class trip as the next agenda item, which I suspect at least one senior will be happy to know that it's now time for that agenda item, since she's already had a busy day.
I have Ms. Kuntz speak on behalf of the seniors. They are here again, excuse me, today to try and refocus the class trip. I know we were here in front of you in the fall looking at Hershey Park. Christine made an executive decision in regards to we didn't have enough interest in that. So she has revamped the plan. She's going to present that, but before she does, I just want to report to the school committee, the senior prom was phenomenal. Christine and her staff and obviously the students did an outstanding job on that, so I'm looking forward to, it was phenomenal. Probably one of the best proms I've been to in many years, and I'm excited for this presentation, so I'm going to step back and listen.
By the way,
Yes.
just to mention the senior prom, I did go to the promenade, and the students just looked terrific, and the conduct of the promenade was excellent, and we had pretty much a full house at the auditorium at the high school. Excellent to be there.
They not only look good at the promenade, where I was as well, they look good on the tennis courts, too.
All dressed up?
All dressed up, yes. Okay, yes. Welcome. What would you like to tell us about this different senior class trip?
Okay, so
Identify yourself for those of us who are
I'm Mia
not familiar with your
The few
smiling
that are
face.
Not familiar with you. I'm Mia Sarkeesian. I am a senior at Wareham High School. So we had attempted a Hershey Park field trip, and there was a lot of interest at the time. But I feel like with like a lot of senior costs and everything else in college, like I think it was like $350 to $380. It was just too much.
And the DECA trips, and then there
Yeah,
was
with the DECA trips and everything.
the
There was
Costa
a-
Rica trip and the Italy trip.
Yeah, there was a lot for students to pay. So, which we did have a lot of interest for that at first. But again, it's a money thing. So we had talked to students about Six Flags, and I think right now we have 45 kids interested, which is almost nearly half the class at this point. And so that would be for June 2nd. We would leave right after graduation practice, so I believe about 10 o'clock. And then we would be there until the park closed at 6 and get back around like 8:30, depending on the bus trip. And we would be taking a normal school bus there.
And your last class is what date?
This Friday.
This Friday. And your last exam is?
I think Friday of next week or Thursday. Friday? Yeah.
Friday of next week, which is before June 2nd?
Yeah.
So this will be after your work is all done?
Yeah. So then everyone would have time to go to.
Yes, got it. Questions from the committee?
Where are you, Mr.
Yes.
Chair, where are we going?
Six Flags.
Oh, Six Flags.
Where?
Agawam.
Agawam. Yeah.
Okay, because the note that I have on here said, oh yeah, okay.
Six
No,
Flags Greenland.
previous trip was to Pennsylvania.
Right.
And this is going to be a one-day trip.
Yeah, it's just going to be probably 12 to 6. Just a day trip this time.
12 to 6 in
And
the park.
the
and then-
cost per student,
We're actually doing $25.
and that's going to cover it all? The
Yeah,
bus-
that's going to cover the bus and
The
everything.
bus and the ticket?
Well, no,
Yeah.
not really. I'm offsetting the price with some fundraising we had did in the past, some funds we have left over from fundraising, and also some of the class dues. So the ticket itself to get in is $27. I'm going to pay for the bus and the remainder of the cost of the ticket with what we have left over, basically.
They're trying to get to a zero balance in their fund.
So the cost per student is 25.
I
even though
understand
there's
exactly
more.
what they're
Well, I
trying to
was-
do.
sorry.
We're giving the kids a break because they deserve it. They've, raised these funds. for
We
fundraising,
fundraised way too
like
much.
$4,000 we fundraised, and we did that because we need deposits for the prom. And the prom's paid for, and we still have the money.
We might as well use on the students while we have it.
Yeah, they can't afford to do much.
Mr. Lazarus, you have a concern?
Let me think about this for a moment.
And while you're thinking, Nicole, you had a comment?
Yeah, just a question. I know it was probably, were there certain days that you had to pick from? So is it just because it was what you had left that it was on the same day as like a graduation practice? Because I know people were saying that the best way to get your money's worth was to go for the full day, but I don't know how much that would
It's
take
actually
off.
only open 10 to 6.
Oh, okay. So
at
it's
that
not like
time of
you'd
the
be
year.
missing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That
So
was my only.
we're going on what they call school days, and there's certain dates that we could pick from.
Okay, that was my only question.
We tried to do grad night, but there wasn't a good date for us at all.
Yeah,
Start
when was the
practice
day?
at 5 o'clock in the morning. You'd be all set.
And I believe that was the day of graduation, and then another day was last Saturday, and it was way too early to have it. So we decided on just the day trip.
Judy, all set? Mr. Lazarus, should we come back to you?
Just for one moment. So, am I to understand that you're going to charge each student $25, but the actual cost is more than that?
Yes,
And so...
the bus.
And that...
They're not
and-
paying for the bus.
No, let me finish. Thank you. So, other students in the class who are not going on this trip are in effect paying part of the students that are going on the trip.
Well, actually, the people that raised the money were the class offices. It's fundraising that we did, car washes and things like that.
Well, yeah, but a moment ago, you said that part of this money is coming from class dues.
Well, not really. I mean, what I wanted to say is that, it should be offset in class dues, and they have money put aside for different things, like prom. So there's money in the class dues set aside to offset the cost of prom, but not everyone goes to prom either.
Okay.
Mr. Palladino, did you want to weigh in?
Well, I just, previously I mentioned the prom, and I think there were only about 8 seniors that didn't attend. So I haven't seen the final tally in regards to finances, but Christine did a great job negotiating the price of that prom. It was the cheapest prom we've had in 10 years. So I'd venture to say there is probably some money left over from prom sales to offset the cost as well.
Okay.
So I think she's in really good shape financially.
Thank you.
And,
That's all I want to know.
Yeah, we'll be in good shape.
Thanks.
Is it fair to say that there's occasional subsidies that creep into activities, because unless 100% of people choose to participate, even though they've contributed in one form or another, the money gets used, spread out across those who do participate in some activity. So a subsidy is not an unusual event. Is that a fair statement?
Very fair, very fair.
Okay. Anything else? I need a vote to approve this trip to Six Flags in Agawam.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 500.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Be
Have a good time.
safe. Acceptance of gifts.
Thank you. I have 3 for the school committee. $2,000 to the high school to help transport students to the Special Olympics. This is from the New England Sanitary Supply Association.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this association or any of our vendors belong to this association?
This is a donation from an organization that one of the parents in the special needs classroom, a parent of a special needs student, received. He had to write a letter as to why we should receive that. It's a competition, and he was, I believe, one of several hundred applicants, and he received this. They do it this organization does it every year. We do not utilize that vendor, and we're just excited to have that
Does the
donation.
vendor we do utilize belong to that association?
I'd have to double check. I'd have to double check on that. I don't believe so, but I can certainly do some research on that.
That was my question.
So, I'm reading between the lines here. There would be there's no appearance of a conflict of interest here. There's no way that this money could be perceived to be influencing any decisions on our part. Is that a fair
Not
statement?
for purchases, no.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Zero?
Zero.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Abstain? 401.
The next would be school supplies to the district from Walmart in Wareham.
And how much is the gift?
4 large boxes, approximately.
More than 4.
More than 4.
Probably about 12 boxes.
Ballpark?
Ballpark, 500.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? 500.
And the final one, $400. It was a $400 ribbon. It was money used at the ribbon cutting ceremony at the new Marriott Hotel in Wareham. This was given to the high school DECA from La France Hospitality Company.
Did you say $400 ribbon?
Yes. They had $20 bills, Cindy?
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
I knew I should have gone out about 7:30. When we had our annual home show, the new hotel in town, we offered a free booth to, and not free booth, we offered them a booth. The booth cost would be $350, and we waived their cost as they said they would like to invite us to the ribbon cutting ceremony and present us with a check. So I said, okay, it would be a good partnership for our hospitality kids, for all our DECA kids. So they went to the home show and they invited us to their opening, which we attended. And when we got there, they said that it would be a big ribbon cutting ceremony. And when I looked at the ribbon, it was made up of $10 bills. And it was pretty amazing. They did a press release about the DECA program and the partnership that we have formed with them. And in lieu of their $350 home show fee that we waived, they gave us the ribbon. We had to cut it apart, but there were 40 $10 bills there. So it actually becomes a $50 donation after their home show fee because they didn't have to pay for it.
Got it, right. Great story, thank you.
You're welcome.
They cut it in the right place?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? 500. Thank you very much for all those gifts. Mr. Palladino, and I assume your esteemed athletic director is going to join you?
This will be the last time I'll be up here tonight.
Promise is promise.
I know, right? I think it is a promise that I can keep. So Ed and I had a chance to go back to the committee, the Athletic and Extracurricular Eligibility Committee, and obviously bring back the feedback that was given to us at the school committee meeting, I believe it was in the wintertime. And they came back with what they felt was a fair adjustment for the students while increasing the bar in regards to eligibility requirements. So it's kind of ironic, we were talking about handbooks earlier, so we did bring our addendum to the handbook and on page 14, and I did just cut that page for you. I believe you have that in your packet. But it's under, on page 14, 3A has to do with the requirements for participation in athletics. And basically what we would like to change is that the academic requirements, a student must pass 7 major subjects each quarter to be eligible. And the description of a major subject is one that carried at least 2.5 credits per semester or 5.0 credits per year. At the conclusion of the school year, in order to be eligible for fall sports, a student must pass at least 7 major subjects for either the year or the second semester, totaling at least 35 credits. A student who passes 6 courses for the fall and winter season may apply for a one-time, and this is in the student's high school career, appeal to the principal. This must be done in writing and include the mitigating circumstances that cause the student, and it should be to be ineligible, the principal's decision will be final. So this is basically increasing the eligibility requirements by 1 full class that a student must pass. And we call it the Sylvia rule, where they have an appeal one time during their high school career. Now you'll notice that the fall sports, the students do have an opportunity to be involved in the summer school to become eligible. So we would we would take that in regards to the appeal, they would have an opportunity to do that for the fall. So that would be an opportunity for them to bring up their grades to the 7 major courses.
Okay. Before I open it up to questions, this is only to for the high school, correct?
Correct.
Okay. This would not be a district handbook. It would be a high school appendix or annex,
Addendum,
whatever
as
you-
we call it.
Excuse me?
Addendum.
High school addendum, and the overall high school addendum will be coming back to this, will be coming to this committee
June 17th.
June 17th. Okay. All right. Questions from the committee? Yes, Rhonda.
Just to make sure that I understand, so winter season may apply, so that a student may apply for or ask the principal for an appeal one time, so that means freshman to senior year, one time, so they only have one chance to fail 6 courses.
Correct. They have one opportunity. So one mea culpa, they have a bad situation at home, and something's going on, and maybe it's a senior in his last year of baseball, and we can if it's legitimate circumstances, we can approve that.
Okay.
Because the MIAA says they only have to pass 4.
No, I understand.
So we'd be in compliance with the MIA, which is the governing body that oversees
So I
all.
just mean that they're a freshman, they're playing sports, they have a hard year, they only pass 6 courses, they ask for an appeal to the principal, you grant that. They have a difficult time in their senior year, done.
They've already exhausted their appeal.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes, Judy.
Now it's 6, are there many students who are failing one course and playing?
No, it's 7 now.
Oh, 7 now.
This would make it 7.
This would make it 7,
Yes.
right. I mean,
That's right.
Presently.
It's 6 now.
Yes.
Yeah.
At 6, is it a high number of students who fail a 7th course?
We had one student in the spring, right?
And I've been here 6 seasons, and I think we've had 3 students ineligible in all that time, and we average about 150 students per season. So you're talking, what is that, 3, 4, about 900 different, now some are repeats, some kids play more than one sport, but 900 different grades we've looked at, and I believe it's 3 or 4 that have been ineligible since I've been here.
And Ed and I looked through, I double-checked with him the ineligibility, and I had the lens of, well, let me see what it would look like in regards to kids, if they could only fail 1, and some kids, because of senior privileges, can't fail any. So we looked at that, and I think there would have been 3 ineligible for the spring. But who's to say if the kid had the heads up that they
Would've
wouldn't
tried harder,
rise to the
right.
occasion?
Raise the
So we don't see it as really being detrimental to the athletic program. We think it's sending the right message, but it's also allowing a kid to have an out for that one time that maybe there's a lot going on in their life during that season, and they can go through that appeals process.
Rhonda, did you have something else?
No, it was along the lines of Judy, so if this policy was put in place this year, you're saying there would still only be 3 students. So there was 1 student, and so if we did
I
have this
think
policy this year,
I
there'd be
think
3.
there'd probably be 2, because I was looking at the one, and I think that person could have probably pushed himself to the point of being eligible with this policy if it was in place. So I think there would be 2 maximum, and if someone has a full year's notice, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue.
Now, a typical student in any one term is taking how many major subjects?
8.
8.
8.
No, a
And-
senior might not.
But a senior who is in, Nicole has 7 because of her standing and her senior privilege eligibility.
Because she's accumulated enough credits and all the rest.
She has a GPA, and she was able to get on senior privileges.
Or she's slacking.
She's not slacking, trust me.
I'm joking.
Yeah, she's fine. I wish I had a bunch of slackers like that.
That was nice in an open meeting.
Joking.
She's,
Sorry.
She's sleep deprived is what she
I
is.
know, I know.
Okay, so
We know she's brilliant.
the courses that would not apply to this would be what?
Currently, all courses would apply because we have all semester I's are full year courses.
So when your description of a major subject, which is a major subject is one that carries at least 2.5 credits per semester or 5 credits per year, there really aren't any non-major subjects.
For eligibility purposes, that is accurate.
Is phys ed a major subject?
The way it is scheduled now and the way it is in the context for this eligibility, yes.
So that someone who chooses to goof off in phys ed could fail it and ultimately end up either appealing to you or not being able to play.
You know, I had a conversation with a veteran administrator who has since retired about this, and just talking about, you know, how did it work in that person's school. And it's going to have to be a pretty legit reason, and goofing off in phys ed is certainly not going to be something that I'm going to approve the waiver for. There's going to have to be some legitimate circumstances to
Bottom line is they could fail phys ed and ruin their athletic participation.
It's happened before in other
Happened this year.
cases, so
happened this
it's
year.
not, you know, it's not something that's unprecedented. We've seen it before. It's rare, but it does happen, and yes, it could happen.
Now, keep in mind, these are not just athletic.
This is
academic.
all extracurricular.
This is all extracurricular activities. When you
Correct.
talked about the 1 or 2, did that include all extracurricular activities?
No.
This is athletics. I'd have to give you the number. It's not a high number. It's probably about the same as athletics, but there
So
are.
there might have been 1 or 2 others who were denied participation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There were absolutely 1 or 2 others because there are just as many students involved in extracurricular activities, and they don't have seasons. So it's you know, the chess team is meeting for, you know, 3 terms. DECA is 4 terms. You know, so there are no seasons for some of these clubs and extracurricular activities.
Ed, you were going to say something?
No, I'm all set.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
all set.
Thought you were going to say
No,
something.
Scott said
He
what
covered
was
it,
gonna say.
okay. Anybody else? Cliff?
I'll give you some opinions. First of all, I'm of the opinion, and I have been for quite some time, that if you've got an athlete, the whole idea of 4 years of phys ed for an athlete, to me, is kind of, you want to talk about redundancy. That's real redundancy. And if you've got a 2 or 3 sport athlete, the idea that they're getting some kind of conditioning in phys ed that they're not getting on the athletic field is a little ludicrous. So I certainly am of the belief that if you're a multi-season athlete, that, you know, taking phys ed, especially in the upper years, is a little ridiculous. The point that I try to make on the appeal is, and you brought it up, Mr. Palladino, but it's not automatic, and I think that you'd have to work on the detail of putting that appeal together. But I would definitely want to make sure that the student signed a contract, that contract had very, very strong academic implications, and that it was checked on a weekly or bi-monthly basis to make sure that they were abiding by the conditions of that contract. So I think that, like I said, the devil's in the detail, but I did want to point out that if you have this appeal process, as you pointed out with the kid messing around in phys ed, that it's not automatic. You know, anyone can fall down and stub their toe, but you know, there has to be a reason and a commitment from the student that this is serious. And so I think that in most cases, there is a real good reason for a student falling short academically. But I am going to, you're recommending this, so I am going to support it. But I have to admit that I think that this far surpasses any academic requirement of any school around here.
Will be the toughest in the conference for sure.
What is it?
I brought the conference.
It far surpasses any eligible. That's what I said. So, and And that necessarily is not bad, but what I'm saying to you is, we're one of the few schools that have an academic requirement of eight classes. Very few schools require their students to take 8 classes. The MIAA's minimum requirement is way below what we're recommending here. And again, and I said it when we discussed this originally, you know, in my opinion, it might give folks another reason for leaving Wareham. I really believe that. So, like I said, I am going to support it. You are recommending it, but I think that the bar's pretty high on this.
It's, Dayton Rehoboth has 8 classes, they require 6. And
6 out of 8.
And the other schools all have 7, and they require 5, with the exception of Aponequid, which is 5 out of 6. So we have the toughest requirements to participate in extracurricular and athletics.
And I guess my opinion is we don't need to give parents another reason to leave Wareham.
We were asked to increase the rigor and requirements, and this is why we're here today. I do want, just a point of clarification, my mistake, it's the a student who passes 6 courses for the winter and spring. I apologize. The fall, they can take summer school, so I'll make that a correction. It's winter and spring. The fall, they have a reprieve with summer school, so we'll make sure we make that change.
You said it's 7, not 6, right?
But if they pass 6, they can apply for the waiver.
Oh, yes. Right.
It'll be the winter and spring season, because the
Right.
fall, if they finish the year, they have a chance to do what we call the
Summer
5th
school.
quarter in summer school. So it's the winter and spring season, not the fall.
That would be
month.
their contract. You have to go to summer school.
Well, that won't be an appeal, because
Right.
that's
Right.
something that they're allowed to do.
Right.
But certainly, they'll have an unwritten contract, if you will.
Right.
So we're going to be voting on this, correct? And you're saying you want to change the language slightly?
I just want to, it should say winter and spring instead of fall and winter season.
You have that, Michelle? Okay. To Dr. Sylvia's earlier point, I'm acutely aware of the degree to which, and I have a special group of students on the tennis team.
You always do.
And that makes it a privilege to coach them. But they're sleep deprived. And the idea of them getting, if they're participating in a varsity sport and getting for that term only a waiver from physical education so that they could use that time for some other purpose, even just to do work, that is going to result is, in them staying up until 1 o'clock instead of midnight, It has a lot of appeal to me. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't want to speak for the phys ed department, but I know I've had this debate with several of the phys ed teachers, and they philosophically disagree with that. They feel there are other lessons to be learned in physical education, and it's really not about conditioning.
Okay, believe me, I love physical education,
Sure.
and I'm a major supporter of it. But I'm also a major supporter of kids getting sleep.
Sure, and I think those kids that are the high achieving, I know it's only the senior year, they get the senior privileges, but when I'm back doing the course of studies, if you feel like we should have junior privileges or privileges for students that are taking advanced courses, I certainly would entertain that conversation. I definitely think there's validity to allowing students that are going to take a privileged period seriously. I think there's validity to allowing them to do that. Do I think it should be across the board? No, not at all.
That's a good compromise, and I appreciate that. Okay, anything else? Okay, as amended.
I move we accept as amended.
Okay, I have a motion to accept as amended.
Second.
I have a second from Judy. Thank you, Mel. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. I think I could be wrong, but I think
Peanut
we're up.
gallery.
The peanut gallery approves. School committee reports, superintendent reports.
I just have some dates to remind everyone of. Tomorrow night is our kindergarten ice cream social. It begins at 6 p.m. at Deacon's. If you'd like to come and scoop, please do so. No school on Monday as it is Memorial Day. Next Wednesday will be the Makepeace Awards. That would be held at 4 o'clock at Makepeace. June 1st at 6 o'clock is the athletic banquet. Of course, we start our graduation ceremonies on June 4th. No?
5th.
We have co-op. What's our
Third,
next?
June
Okay,
Third.
June
Before
3rd.
the next school committee meeting.
Right, at 5 o'clock.
Exactly.
That will be at the high school, and I hear Dr. Sylvia is the honored speaker.
Oh, yay.
And Senior Awards Night, June 4th at 7. The Middle School Expo, June 4th at 5. And graduation at 6:30. As a reminder, we have community cleanup, May 30th and 31st. We're certainly looking for participants. Please come out and help clean up Wareham and Onset. Summer school registration for the high school will begin June 8th, 9th, and July 8th, 9th, and 10th, and it will be located at the high school. Currently, summer care program and summer daycare is underway, and that is at the multi-service center. You will be receiving a communication survey. It will be sent out to parents, staff, community members, and we're asking for your inputs and thoughts, and I have a copy for the committee to review. So thank you very much.
Madam Superintendent?
Yes.
I would respectfully request that the school committee be waived on cap and gowns for graduation. I promise I'll wear a suit.
Okay. As long as you wear a suit and long pants and no shoes.
Long pants, shoes, and a suit.
All right.
All
I have
right.
never seen Dr. Sylvia in anything but elegant attire at graduations.
I don't want to wear a gown.
Yes, that's fine.
That was a wonderful summary of dates. Since it's not in your newsletter, could you send that quickly out to the school committee? The dates that you just read off?
I would be very happy to.
Thank you, and I would love to be at the high school social, the Minot?
Deacon's.
Ice Cream Social, but our student representative and I will be trying to win a match at Seacog.
Okay. We'll have chocolate ice cream for you then.
I'll be there.
But they're probably going to ask me to stop at this really good ice cream shop on the way home.
I think I did this online.
School committee reports. I don't think we've got any. Policy review is not met and won't be meeting until the fall. Thankfully, the budget committee has not been meeting. And can anybody think of a report that is due? I have a request, and I think I've sent you a brief email about this. The master planning committee for the town desires a representative from the school committee. Something in the back of my mind says that someone might have been on this committee before. Does anybody remember being on it? Would anybody like to be on the master plan committee for the town? All this enthusiasm is
I told you before, if you need someone.
I
I'll do
know,
it.
I know, but you came through for me on that mask nominating committee, and I greatly appreciate that, so I'm not going to abuse you again.
I'm used to being abused.
Rhonda?
I'd be happy to be on it.
Seriously?
Yep.
Okay, great. Michelle, would you get back to Janet? Because she's the one who sent the email, and just let her know that Rhonda will represent us on the master plan committee. Thank you, Rhonda.
The survey, I think I did this.
We were just passed a Wareham Communications Survey.
I did this online, on the website, and the emails. Wasn't that done on the emails as an attachment?
I don't recall doing it. Does anybody
No?
else recall doing
That
it?
was my strategic plan.
Oh, all right.
Rhonda helped me with it.
Okay.
So
But-
we're going to be sending this out.
Would I
All
have
right.
done this? No.
It's
Okay.
not been released.
All right.
And do you want it done electronically, or do you want it done on paper?
Electronically. I'm just showing you.
And where would
Okay.
we find it?
I'm going to send it out.
All right.
It's
So
not out
this-
yet.
Hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
Okay, good. Any other business that people would like to bring up, except?
Just one. There was an email that we all received from the Mass Association of School Committees on a survey that they would like us to complete on feedback on how they're doing. I think that there are many times at this meeting that we talk about how they're doing. This is actually our opportunity to provide them feedback. There's a lot of open-ended questions that you're able to put lots of narrative to it. So I would suggest when you have a chance to take a look at that email and fill out the survey, because they're asking for our feedback on how they can do a better job. So might as well tell them.
As most of you know, I'm on the board of directors of that organization. I will be very interested in the feedback that I get. I will tell you that I have verbalized my concerns about the work and the mission that it has as recently as this week. I think it has a great potential. I don't think it's reaching its potential, but your feedback will be greatly appreciated. On that note, I would add that there is a Division 7 meeting Friday, 9 to 11:30 at the Cape Cod Collaborative. I think it will be very worth your time if anybody can attend. I know that in addition to myself, that Kim and Andrea will be attending. I think we'll have, there's two main speakers. One is from the state Department of Education, who will be speaking on teacher evaluations and the future components of same. And then the one that I'm really excited about is to do with the future development of educators in Massachusetts and their professional development. It's a professor and chair of a department at UMass Dartmouth, and I think she's going to do an outstanding job. So if you can attend, great. If you can't, we will report back.
Move we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Second? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
I think we all seconded that. I think we all seconded.
Yeah.